Hi, this is Nancy Lowry with The Natural Leader. I hope the following clip will help you should you be having some problems saddling your horse. I think the most important thing whenever you start anything with a horse is to make sure that you work it through until you see change. You may not get it perfect, you may not get exactly what you wanted, but you want to make sure that you do enough that you see a change in behavior of your horse in a way that's positive. If you get something good, it's always a good time to quit. What we tend to do, and when I talk about we, I mean humans in general, is that we get something good and then of course we want to do it again, we want to repeat, we want to get it better. And that quite often is the failing when it comes to working with horses. So we're going to see where we get Sydney to today. She already moved around an awful lot when I was brushing her. I wanted to get some of the snow off of her back initially. She's got some ice crystals there. I'm not going to worry about that because they will melt as soon as I get the saddle on. Alright, first off, my blanket immediately fell on the ground, and so I got hay on it. But I like to have things set up in such a way that I can access them fairly readily, and I have a saddle stand right at the side of the aisle here. When you go to do something like saddle a horse that you know may not want to stand still, make sure you're not tied. They're not tied. What you need to be able, the horse needs to understand that they can absolutely move around. If you have them tied up, then if they start panicking or whatever and they can't move, then things can go from bad to worse really quickly. So I'm just going to make sure that Sydney focuses on me. She doesn't worry about everything else, and she starts to work towards standing still with the saddle blanket on first, and then we'll move to the saddle. And she's already starting to give me all kinds of reasons why she can't just stand still. And so what I need to do is make sure I catch it when it happens. And the better I am at catching her before something happens, the more likely she's going to want to stand still, because I'm letting her move around and she's running into the end of the rope. She's basically finding what the limits of movement are. So for here, I'm going to make sure that I have this rope in such a way that I can move her head around, I can move her body, and as I mentioned when I wrote this up, this isn't a horse that's never seen a blanket before. She's just one who decided recently that she didn't want to be saddled. And I also mentioned she's a fairly big girl. She's probably a quarter horse draft cross, and she can get pretty pushy. So anyway, I mentioned to watch for 3 things in terms of how I do this, and this is about 1,000 times better than yesterday. So she's not even moving today, which is almost disappointing because yesterday she was regularly standing still. So I started just letting little steps get in our way, and it's the little steps that cause the problems. So because she doesn't mind it now on one side, doesn't necessarily mean she's going to tolerate it on the other. And there she's looking and chewing, and that's her going, oh, all I have to do is stand still, right, Nancy? But you can see there's still some head bobbing. I'm going to correct her before she moves. And I'm just going to keep doing stuff with her until she realizes to get me to stop flailing her with this blanket. She just has to stand still. I have found with every single horse, the more consistent you are with your behaviors, the quicker they come around to what you're looking for. So my goal is for her to remain focused on me, and she doesn't need to move. And I can accidentally hit her with this without her moving, is what she needs to understand. And as you can see, she's still got a little, their feet are hard in the concrete, so they tend to slide. So I'm going to be confidently assertive with her, but I'm not going to get too assertive because I don't want her to slip and fall, because of course that would make it worse rather than better. So I'm just going to keep up rhythmic motion here. And Sydney, knowing her, she might reach around and indicate like she's going to take a bite out of me. And that's just her constantly saying, you know what, Nancy, I'm the dominant mare here. And I keep having to remind her, no, I am. So go back to where we started again. And this may not look too bad, but with a horse like her, things can go from a little bit to a lot very, very quickly. And I mentioned she wouldn't be a good horse for a not confident person, because if I was tentative in my moves, she'd just take over.